Let's read the introduction to Psalm 51. Have mercy on me, O God, according to your steadfast love, according to your abundant mercy, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I know that my transgressions and my sin is ever before me. Against you, you only have I sinned and done what is evil in your sight, so that you may be justified in your words and blameless in your judgment. I think all of us know what it's like to mess up, to then wonder afterwards, what do I do now? How do I come back from this mistake, this error, this rebellion? I think most of us then also try to find a way to hide it, to excuse it, or to squish it down. Psalm 51 gives us a better way to deal with our failure. It is specifically the prayer of someone who has sinned so horribly and yet still dares to come toward God instead of run from him. David begins with, have mercy on me, O God, according to your hesed, your steadfast love. He doesn't say in that statement, I made a little mistake. He uses words like transgressions, iniquity, and sin. They're heavy. And he says, against you, you only, I have sinned. David has hurt real people, and he knows that underneath every wrong action is a deeper problem. He's pushed God away from himself, and he's pushed against God himself. He even said, behold, I was brought forth in iniquity. He's not blaming his childhood. He's saying the problem runs to his heart. That's tough to admit, because I think we prefer to think, I'm basically a good person. I just kind of slip up here or there. The Bible says that our problems run deeper. Our hearts often have us trusting the world more than God. But here's the good news. David prays like we can pray as someone who believes that God is better at forgiving than we are at rebelling. He says later, purge me with hyssop and I shall be clean. Wash me and I will be whiter than snow. Create in me a new heart. David isn't just asking for a quick reset so he can go back to pretending. He's asking for a new sense of every edge of himself. A new heart. A joy that only mercy can give. And in the cross, it shows how God can forgive without ignoring justice. Jesus, the truly clean one, takes our unclean record so that sinners can be treated as clean. The resurrection says that this cleaning is the start of a whole new creation. So then, when we think through Psalm 51, specifically maybe activating it like a prayer in the name of Christ, we're no longer begging a reluctant God. We're reaching out and agreeing that a God who has already moved for us is asking and begging us to come to him. And at the psalm at the end of it, David says, then I will teach transgressors your ways, and sinners will return to you. He doesn't say that I'll never talk about this again. He says, use even my failure to help someone else come home. God doesn't delight in our sin, but he loves to turn forgiven sinners into gentle helpers. Someone who knows what it's like to be dirty and cleaned again can quietly say to a friend, I've been here too. God doesn't run away from people like us. Let's go to him. No sin you confess is stronger than the mercy that Jesus has poured out for us on the cross. God can really make us clean again. Psalm 51 teaches us to come to God with a broken and honest heart, trusting him to create something new in us. Augustine wrote, our lives should be praised only when we continue to beg for pardon. A spiritually alive person is not someone who never sins, but someone who keeps coming back to God, who can make hearts clean again.